It's cooking the right way. We're having roast pork today. I'm in chill out mode because it's Sunday, and that's fair enough, I say. Um, with roast pork, of course, it's had to go in the oven, so that's going to be reflected in the energy costs that I've incurred today. But the great thing about pork is, if you buy a decent sized piece, of course, it's going to do more than one meal. And I'm actually going to use some cooked roast pork for the meal I'm going to do tomorrow, which you will of course see when I do the live stream then. Another top tip about pork, if you want crispy crackling, and this is seriously crispy, it is definitely one of my specialities. I never have pork without crispy crackling, and it's one of my all-time favourite foods. Basically you don't need to put oil on it or anything daft like that. You'll see all these sort of top tips. Put some oil on it? No. Skin, it just needs to be dry. It needs to be very, very dry. So take it out of its plastic wrapper, put it in the fridge for a couple of days before you're going to cook it, and then it has to be room temperature before it goes in the oven. So it's nicely dried out and it's room temperature. Never cook any meat, ever, straight from the fridge. It needs to relax before, it needs to come up to room temperature or thereabouts, and then you cook it and it will be much more tender. Now this is rolled shoulder, so it's that joint, because it's got plenty of fat in it, and that's what keeps the meat moist. So another top tip. But the nutritional benefits of pork are fantastic. So you've got protein in there, which is of course, because it's a meat, because it's a red meat, it's got the full profile of amino acids. So it's great for rebuilding you and, repairing your cells, which is fantastic. You've got selenium, you've got B vitamins, you've got iron, you've got zinc. It's a great source of all those different vitamins and minerals. And the fat, and I always tell people to eat the fat. What I'll do is I'll skim most of the fat off, and I use that for cooking other things, or it can go on a low carb roll with some salt and pepper. Try it before you turn your nose up. But and also the cooking juices I'll use in our gravy today. So I'll be using a Tesco's Finest beef stock, a little bit of corn flour, and the juices out of the meat. Absolutely delicious, and that's where you get all the flavour as well. So nothing is wasted. But the fat profile is fantastic. It has all three different types of omega fat in there. Okay, so we hear about omega-3 and omega-6, but pork fat also has omega-7, which is actually one of the rarer types of omega fat, but it's fantastic for our bodies. And pork fat as well, because you'll get lard in the shop, has a very similar profile to avocado oil. Now they'll hail that all over the place as avocados are fantastic. Pork fat is fantastic. Meat is fantastic. So that's all the excellent facts about pork. Crackling tastes just fantastic, and I'm seriously looking forward to this excellent piece of pork and the crackling later. Price wise, again, you're going to buy the best pork you possibly can, but you can, with a fattier cut, it's going to be cheaper. So if you go for leg of pork, it's much more expensive than the shoulder, and the shoulder has so much more flavour. So I suggest always go for the rolled shoulder. But the oven cost, of course, is fairly high. So running the oven today for 3.5 hours, that's cost me £4.36, and that's obviously before we have the energy rise. So the best thing to do is cook other things at the same time, and you could cook a chicken in there, for example, and have that cold in the week, or you can use cold cooked chicken in a curry, you know, I mean, it's so versatile. So if you're going to use the oven, you've got to be efficient about it. And I was silly today because I could have cooked some low carb rolls at the same time as slow cooking the pork. Unfortunately, with pork, we can't use a slow cooker because we want it crispy. You could take the crackling off, cook the pork in a slow cooker, and then just blast the crackling in the oven, but it's just not the same. So, you know, there are options to reducing the cost. As I say, tomorrow we'll be discussing what I'm cooking the already cooked leftover pork, how I'm going to do that. So you can look forward to that. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Hopefully that has helped you, and if you've got any comments, please leave them below because it's great to hear from you. Have a great Sunday. Take care.